All right, welcome in. I'm gonna probably do today like a little bit of a work along stream. Drop those questions here if you have them. Let's see, drop your MCAT and Premed questions here. All right, in the meantime, there we go. All right, gonna get some work done today, and if you have a question, drop a question. All right. Okay. Well, hopefully the audio sounds okay. Gonna do a little bit of a kind of a work along. Got some office work to get done, but I wanted to make sure and drop into a live for a few minutes while I'm getting some work done. So work along with me and ask any MCAT and Premed questions. All right. So for those of you who are new, let's see. For those of you who are new, why don't we write this out? For those of you who are new, I'm Matt, a fourth year med student and 13 plus year MCAT instructor. Ask here or visit mcatboss.com for help. All right, hopefully that helps out. Check the OBS stream for 1 second. Wonderful. Thank you guys for the likes. All right, drop those questions here when you have them. Let's see here. All right. Okay. Y'all drop those questions here when you have them. And I will kind of be flipping back and forth between the YouTube side and the TikTok side and my office work side here. So if it takes a second for me to see your question, thank you in advance for your patience. I will do my best to flip back and forth between streams every minute or two, and y'all drop those questions. I'm wondering, I should also mention this. If you are a student, drop a comment letting me know if you are high school, if you are pre-med, non-traditional, or already a med student or a doc. All right. I need to get more sophisticated about this stream and figure out how to do these as a poll. But for now, we'll drop it here. See what people think. All right. Drop those questions. All right, let's assign. Gonna assign some bookable slots for MCAT blocks next week. If any of you guys have any expertise in TikTok, I would love to. I need to get some guidance on how to get better at TikTok. I've been getting more people reaching out through YouTube, which is cool. It's just not the same. It's a different platform, and it doesn't really seem to cross over. We have a question from Unknown who was asking about PTSD and thoughts impairing performance in academics. I think that is a super very valid kind of question that people need to address. Any kind of mental health concerns that are not well cared for or properly treated should be things that are taken care of just as quickly as you possibly can in the study process. Humans are real, right? Humans are real, experiencing real life, experiencing real challenges. Those challenges for some students can be challenges studying. For some students, they can be challenges with how students interact with the exam process on exam day. All of these things are very real things that people face. And I think that if you are in the process of studying for a major exam like the MCAT, I think it's important to address things like that as early in the process as you possibly can, so that you're able to really maximize your own performance. Very valid. User 607 says, is UWorld harder than the MCAT? If so, what sections are harder? No, UWorld is not harder than the MCAT. The variability in difficulty is real. It is something that you are going to experience in the way that UWorld crosses over into different topics of different difficulty. It's also something that you're going to notice on the real MCAT. Like, you're going to have some passages where you're like, man, I totally understood that. I didn't second guess myself. This really made sense. And then there are going to be other ones that are just super hard. And that variability is a real reason to do a lot of practice to get used to it, and to make sure that you are exposed to as many different contexts for every single subject that you possibly can. Take this as your encouragement to do 3,000 to 5,000 practice MCAT problems. It is incredibly important to just really broadly expose yourself to that. All right, on the MCAT side, on the TikTok side, I'm going to restart here, or not. It never tells me. It keeps popping up this message saying, that they're not sharing it. One second. All right, ask your MCAT questions here or oh. Fourth year, my student and alrighty, hopefully this stream will actually get shared out a bit more. All right, hopefully this one will, I've been trying to figure out how to get around whatever this AI thing is that trips the live after like 5 minutes every single time. I'm not sure why that happens, but hopefully that fixes it. All right, well, I'm going to be getting some work done here. Y'all drop those questions in. All right, let me see here. Let's see. So while we are waiting for a couple questions to come in, I'll do one more of what are the most commonly Googled questions about the MCAT and getting into med school. And the most common, one of the most common ones they said is, what is the best time to take the MCAT? And a lot of times people talk about the best time being the spring. My advice is the exact opposite. I think the best time to take the MCAT is actually the fall before the year you apply. And the main reason for that is that a lot of people find that they end up having to take the MCAT more than once. And if that is the case, then if you need to take the MCAT more than once, then you have the chance to actually do that. And I think that is a level of flexibility that everybody owes themselves. So you want to take some of the pressure off, then go ahead and take the MCAT in the fall before you actually need the score. And then if for some reason you need to take the MCAT more than once, you have the ability to take the MCAT more than once. So something to keep in mind. All right, question from Luna says, I'm a freshman at a university known for being very hard. I think I'm going to get a B in Calc 2. Okay, I do have kind of specific advice for students. Should I drop or switch to pass fail? My advice is, if you're worried about a B, I would not worry about getting a B. If you're only going to get a couple of Bs throughout your undergrad, it's not going to knock your it's not going to knock you enough to matter substantially. The difference in acceptance rate for minor variations like 3.8 to 3.9 isn't enormous, right? Like, so I would not worry about it that much. The difference by the time you get down into like the 3.6 range, 3.8, something like that, in that case, I would say you need to maybe like change majors or something. That's kind of the only time when I start telling people to really get paranoid about their plans changing because of grades. When a student says, man, I'm an engineering major and I'm like making C's in everything because the classes are too hard. In those cases, if you're making C's in everything because you picked a hard major and you decide you want to be, a doctor and that you want a higher GPA, then maybe switch to an easier major. I don't think there's any shame in doing that. All right, Bravo says, any advice for step one, especially for someone who didn't use the Anki the first 2 years in med school? Okay, awesome question. Step one is basically like a really hard, long version of the biochem section of the MCAT. And as the same recommendation that I give all of my students about doing lots of problems, that's my same advice. Too many students waste a month or two of their study time studying passively, and it's terrible. They waste so much time studying passively. Don't do that. Like, just whatever you do, don't make the mistake. Jump right into problems. Find your gaps by doing problems and messing up on problems. That is what you should always be doing. All right. Next one is, when do you think the latest date I can take my MCAT for this upcoming cycle? Honestly, you can take it as late as like June and still be a midsummer application. If bumping it down to June helps you get a higher score, then bump it down to June. There is nothing wrong with that. Too many people rush and take it after just a couple of, I hear all the time people like telling me they're going to take it 2 months earlier because like they'll be 2 months earlier in the app cycle. And then they're submitting with just a terrible MCAT score, even though they're capable of a much better MCAT score. Don't do that. Be better to be mid-cycle with a killer good score than to be in a scenario where you're getting your just a bad score but early. Nobody needs you to apply with a bad score but early. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, next one says, I'm in high school right now and want to go into med options. So if you're in Europe, guys, if you can help me, please, if anybody out there can help me figure out on the TikTok side, I have no idea why every single time that I do a live from the desktop, it tells me that I am reposting copyrighted material, and then I hit appeal, and then it will tell me like an hour after the live has ended that the appeal has gone through, and I don't know how to make it stop doing that. If anybody has any smart ideas about that, please feel free to let me know. Because I will end up having to restart again if it doesn't do the appeal. Anyhow, let me answer the last couple, and then I might have to restart again. Now, the thing is, if you're in Europe and you're a high school student and you're thinking of becoming a doctor, you basically can get into a pipeline that takes you all the way through the necessary undergraduate and medical courses to become a doctor. This option was not available in the US very broadly until recently. Now it is called the BS to MD pipeline, and the BSMD, Bachelor of Science and Medical Doctorate pipelines, are wonderful programs. If you're an aggressively high accomplishing high school student, please think about a BS to MD program. If you are wanting to do the more traditional route, just pick your favorite undergrad, do your BS, and then apply to an MD or DO program afterwards. All right. Tiffany, thank you for sharing the live. I greatly appreciate that. N says, does clinical research count as clinical or research hours? Normally, unless there's direct patient contact, we would consider that research hours. If there's direct patient contact, then it would count usually as clinical hours. I hope that helps. I'm going to keep the live up for now. I haven't gotten a response yet about what they're going to do about the appeal. This is clearly live question answering and has absolutely nothing to do with previously copyrighted material. All right, the FIFA 69 says, my grades are high 80s. Am I cooked in America? Now, again, you'll have to tell me. Oh, okay. So this is regarding if this is regarding applying to a BS to MD program, chances are you would not make it into a BS to MD program. If this is more of a question of like, how hard is it going to be to ramp up to like getting comfortable with the level of sciences that are going to be in an undergrad pre-med, then in that case, I'm gonna say you really do have to take an honest second to think about how you are approaching your science coursework. Because if you have solid B's in your undergrad coursework, that's a 3.0 GPA. It is possible for a few students to get in with a 3.0 GPA, but it is much, much harder to get in with a 3.0 GPA than like say a 3.8 GPA. And so I am a like super positive, encouraging person when it comes to like tutoring people on the MCAT and encouraging people to apply to med school, but I'm also a realist, and you need to figure out how to pull those numbers into the 90s. All right. Because it's not me says, could you submit primaries without taking the MCAT yet? So technically speaking, I believe the answer is yes. And then you can kind of pend, your score once you get it. I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's any point in doing that whatsoever. And what I mean by that is, I don't think a single medical school in the entire country will think that you're a serious applicant if you are applying without an MCAT. It just, when they're looking at 4,000 applications, if 3,997 of them already have their MCAT, then they're not they're not going to think that the 3 students who don't have their MCAT yet are as serious as the 3,997 students who already do have their MCAT. So my advice would be to get the MCAT done and then submit it when you are actually ready. All right, the FIFA says, I want to be a PA, but I'm in high school. Okay, now if you want to be a PA, you don't have to think about taking the MCAT at all. You do want to have a very high GPA when you get to college. Your high school GPA will not matter once you are in college. So you can be okay, but you do need to figure out how to pull up the grades in college, because PA schools, physician assistant schools, are absolutely overrun with applicants right now. They're just completely overrun with applicants right now. And so and in fact, I will give me 5 seconds and I will actually I will see what the acceptance rates are, because I'm actually curious about this. Acceptance rates to physician assistant school. All right. Oh my goodness, here's the crazy part. Are you guys ready for this? The average applicant, it says the acceptance rates, the individual school acceptance rates are 2 to 6%, and the overall student acceptance rate is between 20 to 36%. Now, to give you guys an idea, the average acceptance rates for medical schools, for the students, not the schools, but the students, is 42%. And the average acceptance rate for PA schools is 20 to 36%. Guys, think about that for a second. That's crazy. It is harder to get into PA school right now, just by the raw acceptance numbers. It is harder to get into PA school than it is to get into an MD school. So please think about that when you're making your decision. All right, because it's not me says, how long do you think content review should be? What's a good study schedule or resource you recommend? Okay, so I'm gonna give you two answers to that, and one is drop me a line at mkboss.com if you want more specific help. But the general thing is, you want to review your content by doing problems. Don't spend separate time reviewing content. Find your gaps by actually doing a good QBank like UWorld. Do that for around 3 months, and then do like a month of practice exams. That is the best sort of 4-month timeline that I put most of my students on. All right, I'm gonna leave this live on TikTok again and restart it again in about a minute here. Boss.com. I'm gonna leave the restart the live again in just a second here, just because this whole that whatever their little AI engine here that keeps on saying that I'm using recycled content, I don't know how to turn that thing off. I just don't. So let's leave it there for a second and then I'll restart. Okay. Let's see. All right, here we go. All right, okay. Let's see if this works. Go live. Go live. All right, okay. I have absolutely no idea if this will, maybe this will be the one that goes out. Let's find out. Okay, ask your MCAT questions here. Ask about med school or personal MCAT help. All right, hopefully that helps. We will find out. Alrighty. Well, my mind is blown. Physician assistant schools, average students, 20 to 30% acceptance rates. That kind of blows my mind. So, wow. Medical school acceptance rates for applicants is around 42%. PA school acceptance rates are below 40%. That's pretty wild. Pretty wild. All right, so I'm going to be getting a little bit of office work done here while we're waiting for the first few questions to come in. We have restarted the live again on the TikTok side, since TikTok is being creative. Why don't we call it creative? Let's see. I wonder how this works. Let's try to figure this out. Let's do that. Make it nice and bright. Add source. How interesting. Image. Add. Oh, this is super interesting. I wonder how this works. I am learning something about how TikTok works. This is cool. I think this is cool. Okay. Does that work? Does it do it? Does it do anything? And then I have to send that to the back. I am learning. Send backward. Layer. Send backward. Okay. Boom. And then we zoom in. This is very interesting. All right, guys, welcome in. If you're just joining, I am Matt. I'm a fourth-year med student. I am one of the most experienced MCAT tutors in America, and I am terrible at TikTok. So help me figure this out, and we'll get some people's questions answered here and help more people become doctors. I've been helping people become doctors for longer than I have been in med school. I've actually been doing this for a very long time, crazy long time, I think 13 years. I just realized that I'm now at the point where I have been helping people get into medical school for about 13 years. And yeah. Ask about medical school. Okay, we'll try this new format. Hopefully this is sort of kind of visible and conveys the message. All right, and then it's saying I can I wonder if I can do this. Okay, let me try something. Oh, cool. So here's the crazy, wild thing that I just learned. Somebody is always asking me about med school admissions and occasionally asking me about PA admissions, like physician assistant school. And I looked up the numbers and it is wild. The acceptance rates right now to medical school is that it is given as an average for applicants, and it's around 42%. The acceptance rates for PA school is lower than that. It's somewhere in the range of 20 to 36%. That is bonkers to me. So keep in mind, if you are thinking of PA school as an easier route to get in than med school, apparently it's not easier. Just keep in mind. Again, depends on what you mean by easier, because you don't have to take the MCAT if you're doing PA school, but the percentage of people who get into PA school is actually lower than the percentage of applicants who get in to MD school. Something to keep in mind. All right, guys, drop. Yes, calorie. I agree. That is very surprising. I think that's surprising. Guys, if any of you guys are TikTok experts enough, what? Most of them require MCAT 2? That can't be true. Is that true? No way. So Lee Star over on YouTube. Thank you for the question. I'm sorry I'm just now seeing that. I don't know how long your question has been there because it's been a minute since I have clicked over to the YouTube side. I will I have to look that up now about the MCAT and PA school. But let me jump over to the YouTube side for a second. Lisar says, I'm a sophomore, haven't done anything. I plan on taking gap year so I can apply next year. What do you recommend I start doing? Am I behind? So I honestly, I love hearing when students are working from a non-traditional background. I think that is the coolest thing ever, and I'm biased to that because I was a non-traditional. I had absolutely nothing going for me in terms of the prerequisites being completed, the shadowing or the clinical experience or anything like that. When I started thinking of applying to med school, I had a math degree, I had some physics and chemistry courses taken, but I had to go take more bio. I had to take biochem. I had to take organic chemistry. It was a bunch of prerequisites to catch up on. I was, did a bunch of clinical volunteering. That's kind of what convinced me that this was the right route. And it is totally doable. It is, in fact, I'll respond here. Totally doable. Totally doable. You can do it. If I can help on the way. All right, hopefully I caught that, viewer. Thank you for the question. All right, thank you guys for the likes. Can you guys on the TikTok side? If any of you guys are TikTok experts, if I cannot tell you how grateful I would be if somebody could help me figure out why. Thank you so much for helping me hit the 500 likes. I cannot figure out why every single time I get on from the desktop, I'm trying to switch all of my lives over to the TikTok live studio, but it keeps on telling me that there's like some kind of like it's gonna stop me from sharing the live because I'm using copyrighted material, and I'm not. I've tried every different header and words and everything, and I do not know what that's about. All right, what's the best Anki deck for so the question that we have here is, what is the best Anki deck for the psych and sociology section? I feel like the Pankow one is huge and has a lot of random stuff. Okay, I'm going to give you an unpopular opinion about Anki cards for MCAT studying. Y'all can take it or leave it. I know that this opinion kind of it POs some people, but the thing to keep in mind is that Anki decks are only something you should look at for like 4 or 5 days. I'm sorry, guys. This is unpopular, but like, please only use Anki for like 4 or 5 days. Use it so that you know your definitions and then completely ditch it. And I mean this for you if you are a pre-med. I mean this for you if you are an MCAT student, if you're a medical student. In fact, I'm gonna record this as a clip. I'm gonna go on a rant. Are you ready, guys? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. My opinion about Anki decks. I get asked about Anki decks all the time, and I have to say that they are generally a waste of time. So here's the unpopular opinion. Don't get mad, but only do an Anki deck when you are really new to some subject or some area or some topic list, and then literally only do it for a week and then throw it away. Delete it, get rid of it, don't look at it again. Anki decks are good for dropping a few definitions into your head, and then they are useless. So many people use Anki decks way past when they should. When you are trying to take a contextual exam like the MCAT or an exam for med school, and you are using an Anki deck that's like flip-flop, 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 fill in the blank, or what's the definition, you are not giving yourself the chance to use a contextual question in a passage or even a hard data interpretation question. Those things require you to know the definitions, and you should use an Anki deck long enough to know the definition, but then you need to actually move to a real question bank. Please keep this in mind, okay? Throw away Anki deck. Okay, hopefully that is useful to somebody. Rads, thank you so much for sharing the live. I appreciate it. Hopefully we can find a way of moving past the weird AI thing that keeps telling me that I am sharing copyrighted material. There is nothing copyrighted here, guys. All right, on the YouTube side, Mr. Everything says, can someone take the MCAT in high school? And the answer, thank you for the question, is no, unfortunately. They actually try to kind of make sure you're like an eligible candidate. As far as I know, the answer is no. Maybe I'm wrong. I personally would never tell a high school student to take it, and I have worked with insanely brilliant high school students as a tutor, and even the most absolutely incredible, brilliant high school students just have not had the coursework to take like the organic chemistry and biochemistry sections. So I would not recommend it. Now, if you want to be really ace at the sciences and be really good at your core sciences, get really good at physics and chemistry and biology in high school. Get really used to reading all the time. Be a reader. Don't be one of these students who comes out and you're like, I haven't read since that time that I read Susie's like Instagram post where she wrote text at the bottom of the picture. Don't be one of those people where social media has taken away your ability to read. Please do not be that, because on the MCAT there is a verbal reasoning section, a CARS section, where you have to be able to do reading comprehension with long passages. You need to, in high school, be reading. If you want to be a competent test taker, you must be a heavy reader. So that's my advice to everybody who actually is a few years away from the MCAT. Please be a reader. Read and read and read. If you are in college and you're still like first or second year of college, please be a reader. The more you read, the easier the reading comprehension section will be on the MCAT. I hope that is helpful. Smash the likes, guys. Hopefully somebody on the YouTube side can do that as well. Thank you, guys. It looks like... I wonder if we have actually, I have no idea. I always hear people telling people like drop a 1 in chat. I don't know if that's actually a thing. I've never done this. I'm kind of new to the whole live thing, but drop a 1 in chat if you are a college pre-med. I want to kind of get an idea of how many people. I think, and I do think that I probably have very few viewers right now on the TikTok side, since they keep telling me that they're not sharing it because I'm allegedly doing copyrighted shared material. I don't understand that. Okay, well, if we don't have any response, I might go ahead and restart the live on TikTok for like the 4th time, which is a shame because you guys helped me hit 1,000 likes. It looks like we're still getting a few people. Cool. Okay, well, drop a question if you have a question. While we're waiting for more questions to come in, I think I will probably go get a little bit of office work done. I will keep the live going and check back for questions in just a second. How does this work? Oh, cool. Okay. Okay, very cool. So, rename Anki questions. MCAT. Cool. Okay. Thank you guys for the questions. Let me check the YouTube. Okay, cool. All right, guys, I think we're only going to stay on probably a few more minutes. Okay, I am going to go ahead and restart the live on the TikTok side. I don't see, TikTok is so confusing. Maybe I shouldn't. It's telling me, it tells me not to restart the live because it has like 1,000 likes. But then it also is like, it's making me like appeal the use of copyrighted material. If any of you geniuses are able to tell me why it says that every time, please let me know. I do not know how to get it to stop doing that. All right, let me see here. I feel like I'm on the verge of this crashing. Let's see. All right, I think, okay, it looks like, yeah, let's go ahead and restart it. Thank you for the 1,000 likes. You guys are awesome. Ask your MCAT questions here. All right. Or visit MCATboss.com. All right. Okay. YouTube still going strong. Restarting again on that side. All right. Y'all drop those questions here. I'm going to get a little bit of office work done while we're waiting for another question to come in, and we will prep the next post for YouTube. Hopefully it shares the live out. I cannot tell anymore. Not sure how to think about the TikTok Live Studio anymore. Hopefully TikTok Live Studio figures out that I'm a real person. This is not a video of a person. This is me. I have to say, TikTok is very good about never ever having any kind of an AI like block on my lives if I do it from the phone. But then why on earth they do the why they flag it when I'm doing it from the desktop is beyond me. They gave me the app. I don't know why they don't like it from the desktop, but hopefully this does the job. All right, guys, only going to be on a couple more minutes. So if you have any MCAT questions or Premed questions, thank you guys so kindly for hitting the like so many times and helping me catch up. Hopefully that actually tells the system to get it out there. Drop them here. Somebody is goals is over here smashing the like. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Help us get that number through the roof and help more pre-meds. I really, really appreciate that. For those of you who are new here, I'm Matt, and I am a doctor in a few weeks, and I've been teaching the MCAT for about 13 years, and I really, really like helping people become doctors. So if you have questions, please drop them here. If you're looking for personal help with the MCAT, you can drop a message at mcatboss.com or mattinmedicine.com. You, my best friend, said, I'm nervous for chemistry in undergrad. Chemistry in undergrad is a course that some students consider a filter course. I'm not sure that I would consider it a true filter course in the way that a course like organic chemistry tends to really truly, I guess, what is the term people use, a weeder course. I think that the difficulty of organic chemistry for a lot of people means that there are students who truly suffer GPA wise. Thank you so much for smashing that like. I think that some students who take organic chemistry have such a bad time in both organic 1 and organic 2 that it truly does actually damage their GPA sufficiently enough to make it hard to kind of keep going. I haven't seen as many students who feel that way about general chemistry. And I think the thing to keep in mind is that if you're willing to put the work in for the amount of sort of extra math and some calculation work and the memorization of some basic naming rules in general chemistry, it really truly is a course that is tackleable. And if it's not tackleable, it's probably prescient for how hard the MCAT would be. And I don't mean that as a discouragement, just that It is a very straightforward prerequisite for the MCAT, but it's doable. Get help before you feel like you're far behind. The next question says, what was your science GPA? I had a pretty equivalent science and overall GPA. It was in the 3.8 range. And I did get interview invites at just about every med school that I applied to. So it's you don't have to have a perfect 4.0. Case management physician says match day is fast approaching. Yes, it is. I am not participating in match because I'm going into the biotech pharma world. But for my colleagues who are having match day in a coming up in a few days, we're very, very excited. Gabriela says, are the numbers for blood pressure real? I'm not sure that I understand what the question is actually asking. Please feel free to clarify. Next question says, is 3.4 to 3.5 for my science good for med school? It is good enough. It's not going to be a hindrance to you getting into medical school if you apply broadly. The admission stats for mid 3-point GPA are still relatively good. Like typically in the with a good MCAT score, they're typically like about a third of students who still get in. About a third of students who apply still get in. And that might sound a little bit low, but when you keep in mind that the overall national acceptance rate is in the 40% range, it's not bad. It's not bad. So that should not be a reason for somebody to forego applying to med school. Hopefully that answers the question that you're looking at. All right, guys. I do believe I am very excited to say that I think for the first time ever, we have passed the 6-minute mark and the AI actually quit flagging this as a copyrighted stream because, of course, it's not a copyrighted stream. So that is very exciting, very encouraging. All right, somebody's telling me that the stream is lagging. I'm not sure what I can do about that, but thank you. Hopefully the whatever lagging is not doesn't go on too much longer. Hopefully that is fixed pretty soon. All right, guys, drop those questions here while we're waiting for another question to drop in. I'm gonna keep jumping on with a couple office tasks here, but I will keep the live running for a few more minutes, and you can drop your questions here, or let me see here. What can I do with the, does it do? What is the, I love the question. Somebody said, what happened to your hair? You know, what happened is med school. And I love how in the headliner image, the hair is tame, and then in the real world, the hair is a little bit untamed. But you know, med school has a tendency to do that to you. All right, y'all feel free to drop any other MCAT related or hair related questions, and I'll do my best to answer the MCAT related ones or the med school related ones. Thank you guys for helping me hit 1,100 on the likes. Let me see here real quick. How do we do this? How do I do polls? I need to figure this out more. How do I do polls? Let's see. Oh, here we go. This one. There we go. All right. Okay. I think I figured out how to do a poll for how far people are in the med school journey. I'm going to keep this up for like 2 more minutes, and then we'll go ahead and shut it down. All right, next question says, is med school really hard? And the answer is, the answer depends on what you mean by hard. That is the main, I think that's the main thing that I would have to ask if somebody asked me that is, what do you mean by hard? If you mean, is it demanding? Then my answer, of course, would be yes. Med school is very, very hard in the number of hours that your brain has to be running, the number of topics that you have to understand, the number of times you have to study when you're tired. All of those things are things that you have to overcome. The types of exams that you have tend to also be cumulative. And when you're asked a question about a topic, it could be something that you learned a day ago. It could be a topic that you learned a month ago. It could be a topic that you learned about 2 years ago. And the challenge with undergrad exams is that even if you had an exam in a really hard course, and even if it was a final exam, the most that it could go back in terms of how much content cumulatively that you are responsible for would usually be a semester. And in med school, it could be something you learned 2-3 years ago. And so you really have to keep that in mind. The pace is the other thing. If you're thinking about whether med school is hard or whether you're up for the challenge, the pace is really, really, really hard, really intense in med school. So if you feel like going through a semester of undergrad is hard, it is like that, but it's like a million miles an hour. So you feel like you started your semester and then almost instantly ended up on finals day. All right. And then the last question, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down here in about half a minute, guys. So the last question I see here is, what was your most stressful experience in med school? And I really think that for most of us, probably myself included, the majority of us, it would be somewhere between, a moment where life is really demanding, but you also have like really intense rotations, and a moment where you're expected to be awake a really long time or studying for exams and doing clinicals. I know for a lot of us also, the amount of content that you're responsible for with the step exams is something that is hard to convey to a person who's never taken like a 9 to 11 hour exam. And so those are things that you have to be willing to endure if you are if you're going to actually go through this journey. So I hope that was helpful, guys. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down there. I really, really, really appreciate all of the support, all the questions. Thank you for helping me get to 1,100 likes. Please follow if you are on the Premed journey, or drop a message at MCATboss.com, MCATBOSS.com, if you are looking for personal help, and I'm happy to help. Are you AI? It would maybe someday AI will be as advanced as me right now. There you go. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Have a great one.